is up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Club. I'm Alex.
I'm Pete.
And we are coming to you with a special episode talking about Scarlett #1 from Skybound and Image Comics. And as special guests, we have the creative team behind Scarlett, writer Kelly Thompson and artist Marco Ferrari. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. You guys are amazing.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Oh my gosh. So, ciao, right back at you. Very excited to have you on. Very excited to talk about this book. For anybody listening, it is out in stores now, so I'm going to give a spoiler warning up top here. We are going to talk about spoilers a little bit, but I do want to start broadly with the idea here. Kelly, to go to you first, you said, I believe, maybe in the initial press release, and then you say in the back matter of the book as well, that Scarlett is one of your favorite characters. You had to write Scarlett. What is it about this character that draws you to her in particular? What's important about her to you?
Well, I think probably the context of that statement, just to be clear, was probably that she was one of my first geek love characters. Like she was sort of an entry to geek type of stuff for me, and to a lot of boy-coded stuff that I ended up liking, including, let's face it, comics are pretty boy-coded most of the time. So, and here I am. So she was like a great entry character for me. Like I really thought she was incredible. She didn't ever seem like girly in a negative way. She stood toe to toe with all her colleagues. She was sort of the coolest. You had a crush on her. You wanted to hang out with her. She was just the best. So getting to sort of chart her path as this new universe builds up and she becomes a Joe was honestly really, really cool. Like it's really cool when someone goes, oh, this thing you loved in your childhood here. Do you want to chart its new path? Like it's a really cool moment when people let you do that.
Marco, what about you? Did you have a connection to G.I. Joe and Scarlett in particular before you started this project?
No, unfortunately, it's not like as for Kelly. I have to
He's too young, guys. Too young. He's trying not to make us all feel old. He's too young.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
I'm too young to have as a grown up for growing up as a toys or show. I grown up. I'm from 1993, so
yeah.
Here they stopped. They stopped to bring
collective groan from the rest of the cast. Everybody, Marco's youth putting us all to shame.
I was when they stopped bring them to Italy when I was a kid, so I've never been able to see the show or even have the toys at least. So I knew them because of the movies in the last years. So that's the first contact I had with the universe.
It does seem like we need to get some toys out to Marco pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So Skybound can take care of that.
Yeah, we'll have them take care of that.
I like toys. If you can see in my
you got a respectable nerd wall back there. Yeah,
just reach behind you,
I'm
sweep
a
it up.
collector.
Oh, nice. Look at that. Cool.
Monster Girl. Awesome.
Well, just to kind of get the age thing out of the way, we're having a real kind of like 80s, 90s renaissance right now with Transformers and G.I. Joe, and even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are coming back. So right now is a sweet pocket for people of a certain age where we're kind of being rewarded for watching the animated movie or, the animated TV shows. First off, you guys just killed it. So thank you so much for not ruining my childhood, but lifting it up. I really appreciate that. I just wanted to say thank you as a nerd of a certain age. This really hits a sweet spot, and you do it in such an amazing. I mean, the art's just so badass. It really brings Scarlett to the place that she needs to be. And so I just wanted to say thank you to both of you.
And when Pete says he's a nerd of a certain age, he was born in 1923, so he actually predates comics, just so you know. So you're aware. Well, that all said, that all out of the way, pleasing nerds and everything, at the same time, the Energon Universe is a new thing. It's its own thing. So, Kelly, to go back to you, and then Marco, I'd love to hear from the artistic perspective. Since you are introducing Scarlett here and introducing her part of the world, What did you look back on that you kind of kept from the old iteration of G.I. Joe, and what do you think you wanted to infuse it with new to change it?
I mean, I think the thing I really tried to hold on to was just who I felt she was as a character. Like, who is that character? Let's get that voice and that sort of personality and that capability down, and let's try to funnel it into what that looks like in 2024. And just run with it. I think the origin story for Shayna, like if you go all the way to her past, like her youth or whatever, is sort of the typical classic origin story of, your family was killed, or, so, like this kind of a thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it didn't feel like anything I wanted to play with. It felt like ground we'd really been over before, not necessarily for Scarlett, but for so many of our characters that we love. And so I was interested I knew they weren't going to let me have Snake Eyes like from the jump as part of the core, like he was going to get his own thing. And so I was looking for other characters that I thought I could really build an interesting connection with and an interesting history that would really serve both Scarlett and the whole G.I. Joe franchise going forward. And the answer was Jinx. Like that's a great character that I'd love to see more of. It's a great way to tie into the Arashikaji. It's, and to get to Storm Shadow and all of that good stuff that we all love. And that I think a lot of us associate with, you associate, Arashikaji is so all over the G.I. Joe stuff in a great way that you kind of associate everything with it. But I do think that because of the Snake Eyes connection, Scarlett is a pretty natural fit in there as well. And so it just sort of came about of building this sort of really powerful friendship, I should specify, between Jinx and Scarlett. Like they're like sisters, and Jinx has been missing and nobody will talk to Scarlett about it. And so this mission she takes on it has like directives, but she's in it for personal reasons. She wants her friend back. She wants to know what happened. She is in it. Like she would only take this mission for like real reasons, because it's basically a suicide mission. So you really have to want what's at the end of that to sign on, I think.
Yeah. Marco, I do want to go to you about the art in a second, but just to jump off something you were saying, Kelly, you do have a seed in the book. I'm forgetting the name of the character, but somebody asks Scarlett about her relationship with Jinx and says, were you two? And she says, no, we're like sisters, shuts it down just like you did. Was that you specifically talking to shippers through the book, being like, no, that's not what's going on here?
Don't ship these.
Yeah, I just don't want to be trolling anyone with this idea. I wanted a sister relationship, like my original pitch was actually that they were sisters, that Shayna was adopted by Jinx's sister. Or by Jinx's family and grew up with them. I wanted to build that. I think that was more beautiful and complicated and interesting personally. I think that, but I also can easily see why that's troublesome. It's just such big changes for G.I. Joe fans. Like, you're already making a lot of changes. Do you need to change the character's name and all their history? So I think we all felt it was a little too far. And so I pared it back to be more just about Jinx and Scarlett and their bond, which, with page count, you always run out of page count. You always need more pages. So it's probably a more realistic take also to fit everything we need in, both the emotional drama and all the high stakes G.I. Joe action. So it's probably a better fit here. But yeah, I just wanted to build something sort of new and really powerful that mattered to her and that would also be good fodder for G.I. Joe going forward.
Marco, over to you to just talk about your take on Scarlett physically. I'll throw out there, one of the things that I really loved about the way that you drew her is she has, at certain points, an aloof and then almost a calculated intensity in a lot of the scenes. It's almost like she's standing and observing things most of the time. Is that something you were going for here, or was I totally misinterpreting it?
Feel free to just call him crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go.
Yeah. No, it's the... my first approach with the book has been very calm and with the feet on the eggshell, because I didn't knew enough of the lore of G.I. Joe to take and completely change the character and do whatever I like. So I try to stay focused on what Kelly was teaching me about the universe and the character and their relation. So as you'll see, I started very, very calm and quiet. So as Scarlett in the start of the book, that it's in the background looking at what's happening. That's how I actually started working on the series, trying to understand what I can do, what's happening around me. And as I was getting more comfortable with the characters, with what they were doing, I started putting all the details that I like to have on comics. And you'll see in small details around the environments or how the characters will act between each others. Oh,
sorry.
Yeah. No. Sorry, I interrupted you, Pete.
No, I was just going to agree with you. I mean, that's pretty cool that like your entry point into this project was Scarlett. Scarlett kind of represented you taking this all in, this new world, and kind of making decisions through her. That's a pretty cool way to approach the art.
And I will say, it's to Marco's credit. I mean, that first, the opening scene is very much Scarlett trying to stand back and observe, because she keeps being ordered to not engage, and then at some point she just starts engaging and just is saying, okay, whatever, like I'm dealing with the situation on the ground, and it's something you guys are not even agreeing exists, so I'm just going to do what I need to do within this moment. A kind of thing that could get you in real trouble, by the way, even though she's doing the right thing technically. But so, it was a tricky problem for Margot, because she does have to be like sort of removed and assessing as an agent the situation, but then she gets involved anyway because she sort of can't help herself from doing what's right. So I think he was really great at, and then like the action by the end when she's in the Arashikaji stronghold and like breaking into it, I feel like that action's very different because nobody's watching her now, nobody's telling her what to do. She is on the solo mission now, and it's all up to her. And I think that art, that's reflected in Marco's art for sure, in a very cool way.
Well, to jump off of that, probably the standout of the issue, at least from the artistic perspective, is you have this amazing 2-page splash of Scarlett fighting a ninja, and it just sort of flows through the action there. Marco, could you talk about constructing that? How did you approach those 2 pages?
Yeah, how many ninja fights have you been in, Marco, for the research for this?
Yeah. I did a sparring with a friend to do the choreography for the fight.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow!
I was working on the pencil of that page because Kelly wrote me. We're looking for a DeLuca type of double spread page, and I said, "Okay, am I even able to do something that cool?" Okay, that's a bit scary. So,
You killed it.
No,
yes.
So much. My initial idea has been to loop the action. So in every point you look at in the page, you can keep following the action, and it's a non-stopping one. So it keeps bringing you into it. And that's been my idea. So that was my starting point. And as I was working on it, I think, okay, she's good, but there are a lot of enemies around her. She needs to be over. What's the right word? I mean, she's capable, but she also had to kind of parry them and deflect them, and because she knew she wouldn't be able to overcome all of them with raw force. So that's why she kept working on jumping over them, trying to make them trip and attack them with their use their strength to her advantage and win the fight.
Be like water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks amazing. This is kind of an artistic thing, but I'm curious to hear from you, Kelly. Scarlett and Jinx, it's established, have a secret language. It's a secret visual language. How did you two work on planning that out? Was that in the script? Was that something that you kind of...
It was...
How did that work?
It was all in the script, but I do think it's probably the thing Marco wants to kill me the most over. It's just, it's a very hard thing to describe in a script, especially when you're dealing with, let's be real, Marco, thank God, speaks English beautifully and reads English beautifully, because if we had to do this in Italian, we'd be nowhere, because my Italian is 90%. So I'm very grateful that he is very adept at this, but you're talking through a script, and then you've also got a language barrier, and you're describing like an incredibly complex idea of two women who in their spare time have created a code that makes sense to no one but them. That's hard to convey, and we've gone back and forth a lot over getting the symbols right and understanding how they fit, but I'm very happy with how they work. One of my favorite instances of it is in the second issue, in the front of the second issue, just in part because it just helps establish this thing and show how cool this code system is. But yeah, the idea is that they have a secret code, and that's part of how she gets involved in this secret mission, is because Jinx basically tells her in the secret code not to follow her. I see you, don't come after me, which is, of course, intriguing on its own. Does she mean that? Is that a code within a code? It's great. It's great, fun spy stuff.
So, Marco, let's kind of check in with you. Did you want to murder Kelly for this? Because that's a lot to say. Hey, listen, you're going to draw this super famous person that's very important to a lot of nerds. And oh, by the way, come up with a secret language. Thanks.
No.
I did come up with it. I told him what to do, but it's very hard to convey that and also fit it within this huge action piece. Oh, hey, by the way, while you're doing all this crazy stuff, we also need to make these cool, subtle little codes that are blink and you miss it, So it was tricky, and he did an amazing job. I'm sorry.
That's all right. He was just about to say how he wanted to murder you. Let's go, please.
Stop trying to get a confession out of Marco. Pete, we are going to... Oh, yeah, go ahead, Marco.
Would it have been a problem if we were still working on how to make the secret language work and issue 4 or 5? But we got it in issue 2 already, so we're good with that.
Yeah, and the last issue was written entirely in this code, and that's how it was delivered to you. But just
we'll have it in English, but I will have only single sentences.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We're going to have to wrap up with you guys in a second, so I did want to ask about the last page reveal very quickly. We get Storm Shadow shows up at the end. That's obviously a big deal. Pete's freaking out here. He's losing his mind. Kelly, what does Storm Shadow bring to the mix, and what are you excited about fans seeing with this character going forward?
Well, I think, one of the fun things about Storm Shadow, one of a fan favorite character for good reason, is that he has the marked distinction as being one of the most anti-hero Joes around, right? He's been sort of on all sides of things.
Oh, yeah.
So there's layers and gray area and complexity to Storm Shadow that I think we all delight in. I think here he's definitely a guy on the other side, very much. I think my original intention was to play him a little more gray area than we're playing him, but I do think that's in part just where Hasbro wants to set things for where they're likely to, there's so many directions that can go in. So I think fans of Storm Shadow, this isn't his book, don't expect him to be taken over, but he's got some really good stuff, especially in the back half of the series where he gets a little more shine. But
exciting.
I think he's really great. I think he's very fun. I think he, it's I feel a little bad when Scarlett is kicking all of the asses of the clan Arashikaji. But I think the thing to note is all those people are incredibly well trained, but there's an upper echelon, right? And we understand that as G.I. Joe fans, Scarlett, Jinx, Storm Shadow, Hardmaster. These are people that sort of are the absolute peak of what you can do, regardless of if you're fighting 100 ninjas or, 100, I don't know, whatever, soldiers from somewhere else. But so I think it's fun to see those sort of best of the best starting to sort of come together in a title, because it makes you worry about what will happen when they start fighting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Awesome. Congratulations on the book, both of you. It's a great book. I only have one bone to pick. There's a panel where Snowjob is drinking a tropical drink, which feels illegal. I don't think he's allowed to do warm weather stuff, but otherwise, perfect issue. Great stuff.
But I thought we were putting him in the jungle for fun. I thought the team would be fun.
That's a warm weather job. That's a tropical job. He does snow jobs. I'm sorry.
I know, but I was showing that how versatile he is.
Yeah, exactly, Alex.
It's legitimate. It's legitimate.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing for Snow Job.
Yeah, congratulations on the book. Really looking forward to the rest of it.
Oh my God, so amazing. Thank you so much for making this thing.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
And if you'd like to support this podcast and all the podcasts we do, patreon.com/Comic Book Club. Also, we do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. to Facebook and YouTube. Come hang out. We'd love to chat with you about G.I. Joe, Energon Universe, whatever. Apple, Spotify, Android, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show at Comic Book Live on Twitter/X, comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, we'll see you at the tropical place where Snowjob drinks his tropical drinks.
Yo, Joe.
That blows your mind.